You know who keeps building out their library is Taylor Swift, Dave. Um, this past Friday, we also got a lot of Taylor Swift uh, news because she was dropping a new album called Evermore, a follow up, a sister album to Folklore. And I think if you had paid attention at all to Folklore and then this announcement, the first thing that kind of caught your eye was same clothing, same style for Taylor, but in color this time. So you're thinking, ooh, maybe we're getting something a little brighter, something that's going to be a little bit more out of that singer songwriter indie mold than this last one. And Dave, what did we get?
We got more of Folklore, but not as good. We
Yeah.
got the B sides, even if she evidently wrote and made most of these songs after Folklore was done. Either way, this is the B side of Folklore, and as a result, it's just lesser. This is the third Taylor Swift album in less than a year and a half. This is new ground for Taylor, but I do think artistically, Evermore is just kind of more of the same.
Yeah. I think I mean, even the production credits. I mean, mostly this is Aaron Dessner. Jack Antonoff's not as involved in this one. I think
Yep,
he only has songwriting credits on two of the songs.
correct.
And both of those songs I think stand out to me a bit, and maybe that's that Antonoff touch. But it's funny because as we work through this album, there's moments and these are all well crafted, fine songs. But like you said, I feel like this just more builds out her library and that B side. And there's nothing that's really jumps out a lot. I think actually the moments that jump out the most are when this is injected with some life from some guests, whether that's the National jumping on to duet with her, Haim kind of coming on to provide that like country badass woman vibe to No Body
Sure.
No Crime. Um, and there's a couple of really catchy songs. Like I thought Dorothy had a really catchy chorus to it and hook, but a lot of these I didn't find as memorable as a lot of the stuff on Folklore. Any of the songs really stand out to you?
Yeah, No Body No Crime from Haim stands out, which is interesting because if you listen to it, it's like, this is like before he cheats from Carrie Underwood. Like
Yeah.
you know these vibes, but the
Hmm.
song doesn't actually go all the
Hmm.
way Carrie Underwood's 15-year-old smash hit did, you know. Um, but I actually really like that one because that kind of reminds me of like that. Taylor's just gonna spin a yarn, just kind of tell a story, you know, like she
Hmm.
did on a lot of Folklore, like the Great American Dynasty, for example. You know, just kind of telling a story. It's not really supposed to be anecdotal or metaphorical. It's just kind of just a tale she likely made up, and here it is. And yeah, of course, it's Haim. Like a lot of their guest spots, they're kind of just in the background on the side. But I think that song's pretty catchy. I think it's one of the more upbeat moments
Hmm.
on Folklore and Evermore, for that matter. And considering that's not really what she's going for, it'll just by design make your ears perk up a little bit more. Um, so that's by far my favorite song on this. But I just don't think we have like deep cuts on Evermore the way Folklore did. Like, there's no Mirror Ball, there's no Betty, there's nothing that's like that exciting for like the hardcore people to discuss, in my opinion, from what I could tell. You know, because
Yeah.
this is a lot of kind of the same types of songs, but again, not as ambitious because they're not new anymore, and just don't they don't really hit because they're inherently soft and folk rock indebted. You know. Um, Honestly, I really did not like how it started. Like Folklore starts off with one of my favorite songs off on the album. I think that song is great. And this we get Willow, and I did not like Taylor's vocal performance on that at all. In particular, in the chorus when she's singing "Hollow" in particular, like I just don't think Taylor's like range was getting there on that song to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this is her just kind of showing out and doing what she wants, which is cool and all, and that's kind of evident because Joe Alwyn is credited on this 3 times as a songwriter. Like you can tell she's just kind of doing whatever she wants, and that's cool and all. But I don't think it's
Sure.
that special of an album.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think this is going to be one of Taylor's most remembered albums. You know, I think her songwriting ability seems to really be finding itself again after getting a little bit lost around Reputation. And we've seen it growing and growing. Recently, she was credited by, I think it was Dolly Parton or another very famous female vocalist, as being a young songwriter that they look up to and that they admire their work. So, songs like "Cowboy Like Me," like I mentioned, "Dorothy," "No Body No Crime," like those are really well written songs. "Gold Rush" too stands out, but in the end, when I turn on Taylor Swift in a couple of years, I'm not going to be coming back to this album. I don't think. I am interested though. You know, Taylor, after this year of oddity and uncertainty, and if you watch the folklore documentary, it seems like a lot of this was inspired by the pandemic and things that were going on. Taylor kind of felt like, I just want to record and get music out. I mean, how are these songs going to play into her live shows, which are these stadium arena tours, or are they just going to be forgotten? You know?
Yeah. I mean, it sounded like pre-pandemic she didn't even want to do another arena tour after the Lover tour. It sounded like she was had different ideas for that, which is interesting because that's leaving a lot of money on the table
Yeah.
when you're Taylor Swift. But um, yeah, I mean, there's only room in a traditional arena set for
Mhm.
a handful of these type of songs. Here's the come down moment. Taylor gets to rest a little bit and sit down with a guitar or something, and strum along to one of these acoustic ballads, and then she'll get back up and do some of the bigger hits. Like, I think that's kind of all it is, unless she does a smaller scale tour where it's all these kind of songs. But I really can't see that happening.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't see that happening either. Or she's gonna be doing like a lot more shows to meet the demand for these tickets. It's a interesting thing to think about. Or is Taylor moving away from touring, which I think would be even more interesting because, like you said, that's a lot of money and really in the prime of her career.
Yeah, that's where the majority of her money is made, like just about every artist. So
Mhm.
that would be something.